Hi. It's a little TLDR before you jump into the video. Unfortunately, the Contax TVS can't be repaired. Once you get down to the actual lens barrel, there's two pieces, a piece of titanium and a piece of metal that are fused together. And in order to actually get to the lens and shutter unit, you have to separate those pieces. And I haven't been able to find a way to separate those pieces. But in the next couple of photos, you're going to be seeing what the camera looks like taken apart. And maybe one of you guys will be able to try and fix it. Yeah, so here you go. Hey, okay. So I just set up a little slideshow to show you. I didn't take a lot of photos, but just like the general breakdown of the camera so that I could see like what the soldering points were. Um, So this is just what it looks like with the board, or not with the board off, with the covers off. This is super easy to do, and you could do in probably like 2 or 3 minutes just by looking at the manual, which I'll link again in the description, but I linked it in the original Contax TVS video. Um, yeah, so just kind of like wiring diagrams, I guess. There's two little nasty guys right here by the, no, you can't see it, but these guys are near the battery port and where the film take-up spool is. And so you got to get these because I forgot those. Yeah, here's the flash capacitor, and you can see how they attach there. This was just a photo that I took because they're in the manual. These are both labeled as the same exact screw, but they're not. The one on top is the smaller one. The one on the bottom is the larger one. This is like all this stuff is super easy. There's a bunch of brackets that you need to desolder, but the manual goes. If you follow the manual step by step, it's pretty in depth about how to take apart everything. I forget why I took this photo. I guess this is just another. This is another photo of what the camera looks like with the cover off. Oh yeah, this is the LCD connector. That it's literally just a piece of foam that connects to these pieces right here. And with pressure, it gets pushed down. And that's how you get your image. Okay, so this is the bottom of the camera. I took this photo to show how the bracket, like this bracket solder that sticks out from around here. It sticks out from under the lens barrel, right around here, and then it jots over and then folds over the main circuit board. That's how it gets soldered onto it. I think one of the upcoming, yeah, this one, I'll explain why I have that in there. But yeah, I'll do that now. It's kind of out of order. So this isn't a photo that I took. I forget where I got this online, but it was a Japanese fellow who had the same broken flex cable issue and took apart his camera to modify the lens to work on E-mount. And when it's on digital, it looks pretty awful. And no fault to him. I think it's just the lens isn't as sharp as I think it should be lauded as. But anyway, what he did was there's pieces of adhesive that connect, pretty strong adhesive that connect the bottom of the main flex board to this plate right here. You could completely avoid taking the adhesive off and removing the main board from the bottom plate. If you unscrew, I think there's 4 screws on this bottom plate right here. If you unscrew these screws while taking this board off, you can take the entire assembly off in one go so that you don't have to mess with adhesive when you're putting it back on. He also left this, this is called the FD dial. This guy right here, he left the FD dial on while taking it off. I'd recommend taking it off. It's one screw and I think one solder. Super easy to take off. Same could be said for the flash board right here. And this is where we get to the what was going on here? Oh, this is the viewfinder assembly right here, and then this is I think like a clutch or whatever. Or the clutch is in here. This is just another gear that you need to take off. That's part of this rewinding unit, and I just took a photo of it to remember what position it was in. Continuing on, yeah. So this is the meat and potatoes of everything. This is the actual lens barrel assembly. I took this photo because I had to remove these two pieces because there's a retainer for where this is the actual shutter FPC cable that snaps. It should be sticking out. No, well, this is the whole. This is a clean break. There should be a piece like jutting out connecting these two together, but I removed that when I was taking the camera apart because it had just completely torn apart. As you can see here, but this is with the retainer off and the cable off. Okay, so now at this point, a little word of warning: don't do what I did. Well, actually, yeah. Let me go back. Sorry, I'm jumping back and forth. But if you look at the actual manual, you can see that this is the lens assembly right here. To get into this part, or well, this is all together. Yeah, to get into this part right here, where it's just like this, you need to remove one screw here on top to free the helix from moving, and then you take that barrel off, the entire barrel, and then you're left with just the camera, or you're left with just the lens. And then there's 4 screws surrounding this piece, which, now that I think about it, you actually don't need to take off. I went into a huge pain trying to get these pieces off. If the barrel doesn't look like this, then there's 4 screws that you need to take off. But if it does look like this, then don't remove these 4 screws. Right here, you can see it's stripped, and I had to drill through the screw. But here's yeah, I actually physically removed the element from the back of it, which is like all stuff that you don't need to do. This is what the lens assembly is supposed to look like, but where the issue comes in is this metal piece and this metal piece needs to be removed from each other in order to get to the actual lens assembly. And I tried everything. I tried moving it. I tried twisting both of them really hard so that they could break, but they didn't. I got a soldering iron and I rubbed it across the edges to try and warm up any if there's any bonding there. Didn't happen. And so yeah, this is from the same Japanese guy online. But if I could tell you any warning, it would be don't mess with this assembly, like these rods and stuff. Like this stuff right here, do not mess with it unless you are videotaping yourself doing it, and you are very, very, very technically inclined, because it's there's a lever moving the aperture system. There's a lever centering the lens when it goes in and out. There's a lever that centers the entire unit when the lens is zooming in and out. There's like 2 helixes in the whole thing. There's the one helix that pushes the lens in and out, and then the other helix that, as I said before, helps center the lens. It's a huge thing. But anyway, this is the top of the lens assembly, and you can see there's only the front element here. The back element and the whole aperture thing is completely separate. I got this photo from Nippon Photo Clinic in New York, who will do the repair for $300 labor and $200 in parts, or it could be the other way around. So it's like, why would you spend the money on that? But yeah, my word of advice: don't mess with this whole assembly thing. What you really want to get at is separating this metal piece from this titanium piece, and that's what it looks like without the light shield. Which if you screw with the light shield, you can see, this is me putting it back on. It's hell to replace. It's so fragile. Yeah, it's hell to replace, but this is what the whole aperture assembly looks like. Yeah, if I could give any other advice for when you're removing it, be incredibly, incredibly, incredibly careful with, there's a light shielding that covers this area. Be careful with that. See how this little cable juts out here? Get a sharp instrument, not a blade, because you will cut the cable. And there's like thick black gunk that covers this cable, and you need to remove that gunk. And yeah, sorry the outlook for this whole thing was grim, but I mean, I'm really crossing my fingers that one of you guys will be able to do this. I'm probably just going to sell the camera for parts now. But yeah, thanks.